Hey drummers, how's it going? It's Alex once again, bringing you some more fun-free drumming ideas. For this week's lesson, we've got a lovely little chop, or lick, whatever you want to call it, between the kick snare and the hi-hat. Tiny bit of floor tom. We can either use it as a, it's more of a, like one pattern which you can sort of like learn and loop round. It's very paradiddly. It starts off with a left-handed paradiddle, so it's got a left-hand lead which feels a bit weird, but we're going to chuck in an extra couple of kicks, keep the right hand up on the hi-hat, so it becomes a 6-note pattern which we're going to loop round. So if we play as a single measure, we'll just sort of do it a couple of times and then round off with a little blah, bish, bish. Or we can sort of like, what I think it sounds best, if you start it a little bit earlier, play it as a 2-measure lick, so you get this cool pattern which reoccurs and plays over the bar line, and then we'll chuck a little couple of floor toms in there at the end, pop the crash, and it should sound wonderful. Haven't found a way to use this yet. I've just literally been practicing it between the kick snare and the hi-hat. I think it sounds pretty cool there, but of course, this opens up the door for you guys to go and experiment with it. But with all that said, if you like what we saw in the intro and you want to give it a crack, stick around and I'll break it down. Here we go. Got a feeling this is going to be quite a short video because I've only got one thing to explain with a little bit of maths involved as well. So the pattern, like I said in the intro, you're going to start with your left hand. We're going to play left, right, left, left. Nice big accent with our left. We're also going to sort of like whack the right hand as well. We're going to keep the right hand up on the hi-hat the entire time, the left hand on the snare, until we look at the 2-measure version where we're going to do a right-left on the floor tom at the end. But the main pattern we're looking at goes like this. We've got a paradiddle, which is going to be starting with the left hand. So we've got left, right, left, left. So big hits for those first two, and then obviously sort of goes to diddles a little bit. So you get... And then after that, we're going to chuck in a heavy right hand, but with a double kick, giving us 6 notes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we play this twice, that will give us 12 out of our 16 notes, because this is straight. We're not playing a septuplets. We're just going to keep it straight. We're just going to give it that nice feel as we sort of like extend it into a 2-measure fill. So just counting it, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, and that will take you up to beat 4. And then we're going to keep like the first idea like quite simple. We'll just probably pop a bass drum and a crash on there, and then another one on the and a beat 4, and then back on beat 1. So get to beat 4 first. Here we go. We've got 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. All right, that takes you all the way through. So left, right, left, left, kick, kick. Left, right, left, left, kick, kick. If you want, just practice looping this little pattern around. It sounds quite nice if you're playing off the bell of the ride. Play it off the stack. Off the hi-hat, what we're doing. You can sort of choose like dynamically what you want to do with the hi-hat, whether you want to sort of like, you know, loosen it up a little bit, get slightly trashier, or nice and tight. I would recommend tight at first, just so you can make sure that bass drum and right hand is landing together, and then start experimenting, sort of moving your hands around the kit. But for now, we're just going to keep it between the kick snare and the hi-hat, and maybe later on we'll play it between the ride and the stack. But the cool thing is your right hand's going to go from playing like 8th notes or whatever you're playing your groove, and then you're going to get this nice little offset pattern where it's coming in on the E of beat 1. So we got 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. So you're going to get this nice little sort of like melody coming from the hi-hat on top, giving it almost like a sort of metric modulation sort of a vibe, but it's not. We're just going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 to complete our first bar. So in terms of what we're going to add at the end for beat 4, we're just going to go, we're going to land the snare drum on beat 4, so we're going to start our next paradiddle. So that'd be beat 4, 4 and 1. All right, so if we go over the first measure or the first fill, so if I have a crack at chucking that into a groove and counting it, not practiced this yet, so we'll see how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 and 1. Alright, this is going to sound sick when we start spinning it up. Let's do 3 bars. Almost got a drum and bassy vibe going on there. Shabba da 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 da, shabba da da da, garbage. All right, it's a fairly simple sort of like format. It's just going to feel, it's going to challenge you a little bit because, like I said, we're sort of like leading with that left hand, which for me felt odd, so it might do for you. Obviously, vice versa if you're right-handed. So that's like the easy version. What we'll try and do now is we're going to look at extending it. So we're going to play it across like measure 1 into measure 2. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to play the pattern 5 times. If we've got 5 times 6, that gives us 30. Across 2 measures of 16 notes, that's 32. So what we're going to do is find 2 more notes which we're going to chuck down on the floor tom. So again, just count either your snares or how many times you sort of land that bass drum with your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, floor, floor, crash. That's the easiest method I came up with until I sort of played it enough times that I'd internalized the feeling of playing it 5 times and then just go straight to that floor tom to hit the crash. So let's speed it up a tiny bit. Sounds great off the stack. Keep it going. Alright, so it's not like a traditional drum beat or drum fill where you're sort of like, you know, playing like a nice little improvised little chop around the kit and landing on beat 1. This is kind of just sort of messing around with time a little bit. I mean, it is a fill. Don't get me wrong, you will be sort of like moving away from like the but it takes a little longer to resolve, so it just holds that tension a tiny bit longer before you go, oh thank God, that feels more normal again. All right, so it's quite a fun one to play around with. Of course, like I said, you can sort of experiment like that's just sort of moving the left hand around. You can sort of play maybe yeah, so little ideas like that, but I think it sounds pretty sick just keeping it between kick, snare and hi-hat, so it's not deviating too much away from the groove, but just offering something a little bit different. So I mean, that's all it is. The only thing you've got to get down is if you want to play it, and I'd recommend the first like steps towards sort of getting fairly comfortable with this, just loop that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, get really happy with that. Even if you want to turn off the snare, it sounds quite nice. Just notice the right hand's always heavy. That left hand is always heavy when I'm starting each sort of round or each paradiddle. Let's do that again. All right, so right hand heavy every time, left hand obviously just heavy at the start. Kicks, you want those to pump through. So you get a dada jugu jugu, jaga jugu jugu, jaga jugu jugu. And I think it sounds rather nice. So that's the first phase, loop the pattern round and round. Then start sticking in some sort of context just by playing, you know, 1 measure of groove, and see if you can get that 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. And then when you're comfortable with that, go for the 2 bars, put on a track. Obviously, just, you know, where you feel the start of that sort of chord sequence, just think out 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be a little bit new to start that extra bar early, because obviously if you want to sort of come back round on bar 1 where you get that nice sort of like resolution to like a 4 bar like chord sequence, that will sound really nice. It's going to feel a bit weird sort of playing across the rhythm a tiny bit, which is what's going to make this sound a little bit more exciting. So I hope you like it. I'm just going to pop up there. We'll go through like 100 BPM, 125, and then when I was sort of playing around with it, I was experimenting like 145 to 155 or something like that. Obviously you can just blast this out quick, but I think 145 is kind of a sweet spot, so we're going to stick around there. So that's the pattern. Let's see what we can do with it, and I'll come and say goodbye afterwards. Here we go. All right, so at 100 BPM, we'll do 3 bars of groove, then a 1 measure fill, and then we'll come straight out of that, do 2 measures of groove, and then the full 2 measure fill. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's crank this up to 125. Okay, same thing. I'll go through it probably one more time extra. Here we go. All right, we've got the measurement on 145. Could do 50, but I think 145 is like a nice little sweet spot for it. So here we go. All right, let's do this one with the ride and stack. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's a fun little pattern to learn and just sort of challenging yourself to sort of like initiate a fill with your left hand. For me, it was a fun experience. It was quite challenging at first. It's not that it's hard to play like left, right, left, left, because we've, you know, all hopefully been practicing our paradiddles. But I just, you know, you probably get into the habit of like starting your fill with your right hand. And so this one, unless it's like a little like pickup note leading into your right hand where you feel the right hand land on a downbeat. With this one, it is your left hand or your weaker hand, and it just offers something a little bit different. Like I said, you could do so many different things in terms of voicing. I haven't experimented that much, I'll be honest, so that's something for you guys to do. If you want to send over any videos of you sort of like messing around with some cool little orchestration with this, that'd be great. I could sort of do a nice little compilation, stick at the end of next week's video. Yeah, like I said, go have some fun with it, and the sheet music linked down below. Go and visit my website, ribchesterdrums.com. Consider signing up. I've got a few more videos coming up very, very shortly. Got some more groove-based ones, got some more licks and some exercises coming up very, very soon. So once again, if you did like it, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you are subscribed, hit that little bell icon. That will notify you every time a new lesson comes out. And in the meantime, take care, keep drumming, and I'll see you very soon for some more fun free drumming ideas. All right, see you later. Bye.